There's no place for your bargain store kids at this party, my sister Patricia sneered. You're embarrassing the whole family. The words hit me like a slap. My daughter Lily, only 8 years old, burst into tears. She turned and ran toward the backyard, her little legs carrying her as fast as they could away from the laughter. I stood frozen. My son Noah tugged at my sleeve. "Mommy," he whispered, "what did we do wrong?" Every adult in that room watched. My mother, my aunts, my cousins. Nobody said a word. Nobody defended us. That was the last time my sister would ever make my children cry. My name is Maya. I'm 34 years old. I'm a single mother of 2 beautiful kids. Lily is 8. Noah is 6. They're my whole world. I work full-time as a front desk clerk at a hotel downtown. It's steady work. The pay is modest, but it keeps us going. We live in a small 2-bedroom apartment on the 3rd floor of an old building. The elevator doesn't always work. The hallway smells like old carpet, but it's ours. 3 years ago, my husband left. Didn't just leave me, left the country, moved overseas with someone else, never looked back, never sent a dime in child support. So I learned to survive. I clip coupons. I shop at thrift stores. I buy off-brand cereal and stretch every dollar until it begs for mercy. My sister Patricia, she lives a different life. She's 39, married, a successful real estate developer, lives in a gated community with a house so big you could get lost in it, drives luxury cars, hosts elaborate parties, wears clothes that cost more than my monthly rent. Growing up, Patricia was always the star, the pretty one, the smart one, the one who got attention, praise, approval. I was the quiet one, the overlooked one, and I learned early to swallow my pride just to keep the peace. I couldn't give my kids brand-name sneakers or fancy vacations, but I gave them home-cooked meals. I gave them bedtime stories. I gave them every ounce of love I had. I thought that was enough. I thought family would see that. I was wrong. If you've ever been pushed aside by family, if you've ever felt invisible to the people who should love you most, subscribe right now and tell me where you're watching from. I want to hear your story. The party that day was for Patricia's daughter Amber, her 10th birthday. Patricia had been planning it for months, a princess theme, professional decorations, a 3-tier cake that probably cost more than my car payment. I didn't want to go. Something in my gut told me to stay home. But Lily and Noah begged me. They wanted to see their cousins. They wanted to be part of the family. How could I say no to that? So I spent hours getting them ready. Washed and ironed their best outfits, clothes from the thrift store, but clean and neat. Lily wore a purple dress with small flowers on it. Noah wore khaki pants and a blue button-up shirt. They looked adorable. I wrapped a gift for Amber, a journal with a pretty cover and a set of colored pens. Not expensive, but thoughtful. Lily helped pick it out. When we arrived at Patricia's mansion, the driveway was already full of luxury cars, BMWs, Mercedes, a Tesla. I parked my 10-year-old Honda at the end of the row and took a deep breath. "Ready?" I asked the kids. They nodded, their eyes wide with excitement. We walked to the front door. I rang the bell. Patricia answered. She looked us up and down. "Oh," she said flatly, "you actually came." No hug, no smile, just that cold acknowledgement. We stepped inside. The house smelled like expensive candles and fresh flowers. Kids were running around in designer outfits. Parents mingled with champagne glasses. Lily spotted Amber across the room and waved. Amber looked at her, then leaned over and whispered something to the other kids. They all turned to look at Lily, and they started giggling. Lily's smile faded. I felt my stomach drop. Patricia appeared beside me and pulled me aside. "Couldn't you have at least bought them something decent?" she hissed. "People are going to think we have that kind of family." I stared at her. "They look fine, Patricia. They're children." She rolled her eyes. "Whatever, just keep them out of the way." The party continued. Games, prizes, laughter. My kids hovered at the edges, not quite included. Then came the cake. All the children gathered around the table. The massive princess cake sat in the center, candles glowing. Lily and Noah moved closer, wanting to be part of the moment. That's when Patricia raised her hand. Actually, she announced loudly, let's have the invited guests stand closer. She turned and looked directly at my children. There's no place for your bargain store kids at this party. The room went silent. Then someone, one of Patricia's friends, let out an uncomfortable laugh. Others joined in. Lily's face crumpled. Tears spilled down her cheeks. She turned and ran. Noah stood frozen, his little hand gripping mine. Did we do something bad? He asked quietly. Patricia's husband looked away awkwardly. My own mother, leaned over and whispered, don't cause a scene, Maya. Don't cause a scene. My children had just been humiliated in front of everyone, and I was supposed to stay quiet. I didn't say a word. I grabbed Noah's hand, found Lily crying in the backyard, and walked out of that house. In the car, Lily sobbed so hard she could barely breathe. I never want to see Aunt Patricia again, she choked out. Noah sat silently. Then, in the smallest voice, he asked, Mommy, are we too poor to be loved? My heart didn't just break, it shattered into 1,000 pieces, but somewhere beneath the pain, something else happened. Something hardened inside me. 2 weeks passed, Sunday dinner at my parents' house, a family tradition. I almost didn't go. But I told myself maybe the birthday party was a one-time thing. Maybe Patricia had been stressed. Maybe things would be different. They weren't. When we arrived, Patricia was already there. She'd brought gourmet takeout from an expensive restaurant downtown. Lobster rolls, truffle pasta, fancy appetizers I couldn't even pronounce. She set everything up on the dining room table like she was hosting a magazine photo shoot. The adults gathered. Patricia's kids, Amber and her younger brother, sat down with full plates. Lily and Noah reached for the food. Patricia stopped them. This is specialty food, she said, not even looking at them. I'll have Mom heat up some leftovers for them. My mother shrugged. Patricia paid for it, dear. So my children sat in the kitchen, eating cold pasta from a container, while their cousins feasted in the dining room. I watched through the doorway as Lily stared at her plate, not eating. She wasn't hungry. She was ashamed. A few weeks later, there was a graduation party for a cousin. Big family event at my uncle's house. I thought maybe Patricia would behave with more people around. Instead, she gathered relatives in a corner and started talking, loudly enough for everyone to hear. Honestly, if Maya can't afford to raise them, maybe she should think about what's best for those kids. Relatives nodded, sympathetically, at Patricia, not at me. One aunt patted Patricia's arm. You're such a good sister for caring. Another suggested I look into assistance programs. I stood near the punch bowl, hands shaking. Lily appeared beside me, tugging my sleeve. Mommy, why is everyone looking at us like that? I had no answer. Then came the final manipulation. Patricia called me one evening, her voice unusually sweet. Maya, I need a favor. We're going to Europe for a week. Can you watch Amber and her brother? Please, I'll make it worth your while. I hesitated. I'm working full-time, Patricia. I don't know if I can. I have bags of designer clothes Amber outgrew, she interrupted. Your kids can finally have something nice. Something nice. Like my children were charity cases. But I thought about Lily's face when kids laughed at her dress. I thought about Noah wearing shoes that were a size too small. So I agreed. For 1 week, I worked my hotel shifts during the day and cared for 4 kids at night. I barely slept. I made meals for everyone. I helped with homework. I broke up fights. I managed. Patricia returned from Europe with a tan and a new Hermes bag. Oh, the clothes? She said when I asked. I had my housekeeper donate them. Forgot to tell you. She smirked. She didn't forget. She never intended to give them to us. That night, after the kids went to bed, I sat in my tiny kitchen and cried. But I didn't let my children see, and I started writing everything down. Every cruel word, every humiliating moment, every manipulation, in a notebook, with dates, because I was done being silent. Here's what Patricia didn't know. Here's what nobody in my family knew. For the past 18 months, every night after the kids went to sleep, I worked. Not at the hotel, on my own project. I started making handmade children's accessories, hair bows, fabric headbands, embroidered patches with cute designs. It started as a way to make a little extra money, something I could do from home while the kids slept. I opened an Etsy shop, just a small one, nothing fancy, but slowly it grew. People loved my work. The designs were unique. The quality was high. The reviews were glowing. 400 five-star reviews. Orders from 12 different countries. A feature in a regional craft magazine. Every penny I made, I reinvested. Better materials, better packaging, building something real. What Patricia didn't know was that every night she spent mocking me, I was building something she never could, with my own two hands. I also saved something else. Photos of her cruel texts, voice memos from phone calls where she belittled me. Everything documented, everything dated. I wasn't planning revenge. I was planning freedom. I didn't want to destroy my sister. I just wanted her to see me, really see me. And I wanted my children to know they had nothing to be ashamed of. My friend Diane saved me. We went to college together, hadn't talked in years, but she reached out one day, wanting to reconnect. She came over to my apartment. When she saw my workspace, the shelves of fabric, the organized ribbons, the finished products ready to ship, her jaw dropped. Maya, these are beautiful, she said, picking up an embroidered headband. Why didn't you tell me about this? I shrugged. I don't really tell anyone. Diane owned a boutique downtown, small but popular. She specialized in handmade goods from local artisans. I want to stock these, she said immediately. And there's an artisan fair next month. You should have a booth. I hesitated. Putting myself out there? Letting people see what I'd built? But Diane insisted, and something inside me said it was time. I agreed. Meanwhile, Patricia announced she was hosting our mother's 60th birthday party. A big event, rented banquet hall, catered food, the works. She called me with instructions. You can help with decorations and setup, she said, and coordinate with the caterers. You're good at that sort of thing. I waited. But keep your kids out of the photos, she added. I want this to be elegant. My grip tightened on the phone. Got it, I said quietly. A few days later, I was at my parents' house picking up some old photos for the party. Patricia was in the living room, on the phone with a friend. She didn't know I was there. My sister does all the grunt work for free, she laughed. She's so desperate for approval, it's pathetic. I stood in the hallway, phone in my hand, recording. When I got home that night, I made a decision. Mom's birthday party would be different. I stayed up late that night, not preparing decorations for Patricia, preparing for myself. The day of my mother's 60th birthday party arrived. The banquet hall looked stunning, flowers everywhere, elegant table, settings, a professional photographer. Patricia stood at the entrance greeting guests like she was hosting the Oscars. Welcome, welcome, so glad you could make it. Yes, I planned everything myself. I arrived with Lily and Noah. They wore matching outfits, outfits I had made myself. Lily's dress had delicate embroidered flowers along the hem. Noah's vest matched perfectly, with a small embroidered patch on the pocket. They looked beautiful. Patricia noticed us immediately. Her eyes swept over the clothes. Did you sew those yourself? She asked with a smirk. How quaint. I smiled. Thank you. I walked past her without another word. The party continued. Speeches, toasts, laughter. Then came the gifts. Relatives presented their offerings. Expensive jewelry, spa packages, a designer handbag. Patricia beamed as everyone admired her gift, a diamond necklace. Then it was my turn. I carried forward a large wrapped package. This is for you, Mom, I said. My mother unwrapped it carefully. Inside was a quilt. Not just any quilt, a memory quilt. Each square featured a family photo that I had embroidered by hand. Mom and Dad on their wedding day. Patricia and me as children, grandma's old house, holidays, birthdays, decades of memories stitched together with love. My mother's eyes filled with tears. Maya, she whispered, you made this? The room went quiet. Guests leaned in to look. Gasps of admiration rippled through the crowd. This is incredible, one aunt said. The detail? How long did this take you? Someone else asked. Patricia stepped forward, clearly uncomfortable with the attention shifting. That's sweet, she said loudly. But let's move on to the real gifts, shall we? I didn't sit down. Actually, I said calmly, I have one more thing. Patricia frowned. Maya, this isn't the time. I think it's exactly the time. I pulled out my phone. For the past 18 months, I've been running a small business, making handmade children's accessories. I held up the screen, showing my Etsy shop. 400 five-star reviews, orders from 12 countries, featured in this magazine last month. I held up a copy of the regional craft publication. An aunt gasped. Maya, you did all this? I did, I said. Every night after my kids went to sleep, while working full-time, while raising 2 children alone. Patricia scoffed. That's not a real career. I turned to face her directly. You've spent years making my children feel worthless, I said. My voice was steady, calling them bargain store kids, excluding them from meals, humiliating them in front of family. The room was dead silent. I held up my phone again. And I have proof. I pressed play. Patricia's voice filled the room. There's no place for your bargain store kids at this party. You're embarrassing the whole family. The recording continued. More comments, more cruelty. Everyone stared at Patricia. My mother's face had gone pale. You said those things? She asked. About your own niece and nephew? Patricia stammered. She's twisting everything. That's taken out of context. Is calling children bargain store ever in context? An uncle muttered. Relatives began murmuring, shaking their heads, looking at Patricia differently. I put my phone away. I didn't come here to humiliate you, Patricia, I said quietly. I came here to stop being humiliated. My kids and I belong in this family just as much as you do, and I'm done apologizing for existing. Lily tugged my hand. I'm proud of you, Mommy, she whispered. I looked down at my daughter, at my son. Then I took their hands and walked toward the door. We left with our heads high. 3 weeks later, a local news station ran a local maker's spotlight. I was featured. Orders for my shop tripled overnight. Diane helped me expand to wholesale accounts. Boutiques in 3 states now carried my products. Patricia tried to reach out. A text. Let's just move past this. Family is family. I stared at it for a long time. Then I typed back. When you're ready to apologize to my children directly, we can talk. She never responded, but my mother did. She called me one evening. For the first time in years, she actually called me. Maya, she said, her voice shaky. I'm sorry, I should have stood up for you, for the kids. I let Patricia, I enabled her. I felt tears prick my eyes. Thank you, Mom, I said. I love you. But I won't let anyone treat my kids like they're less than. Not anymore. There was a pause. I understand, she said. I want to do better. That night, Lily sat at my work table, carefully cutting fabric. Can I help with the business, Mommy? She asked. I smiled. Of course, baby. At bedtime, Noah looked up at me with serious eyes. Mommy, I don't care if we're not rich, he said. You make us feel special. I kissed his forehead and pulled the covers up. For the first time, my sister's silence didn't hurt me. It freed me. I finally stopped waiting for approval from people who never saw my worth. I looked at my children sleeping peacefully. And I smiled. If you've ever had to stand up to someone who made you feel small, especially family, I want to hear from you. Hit that subscribe button and leave a comment telling me where you're watching from. I read every single one. Maybe you've been the quiet one, the overlooked one, the one who worked twice as hard for half the respect. Your story matters. Share it in the comments. because someone out there needs to hear they're not alone. And if this story reminded you of your own journey, like this video and share it with someone who needs a little courage today. You are enough. You always were.